Welcome back to another episode of the X podcast with me, Brenda Rnay, your dream biz coach. I'm so glad that you're here. It is a very, very hot day today. So if you're watching the video version of this, you'll see my fan in the living room and behind me going on. There's no way I'm shutting it off for like 20 minutes while I'm talking to you. So it's going to be running in the background and you may even hear it on the audio. But anyways, I am so glad that you are here today. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I just wanted to welcome everybody. The podcast for me is really about supporting midlife women entrepreneurs and also what I call emerging or inspired entrepreneurs. These are women still in their corporate jobs thinking about exiting because they're just, you know what? We're done with corporate. We're done with somebody else telling us what's going to go on our paycheck. We're done with the pay equity gaps. We're done with the marginalized roles. And we want to start our own business. So you'll never hear from me about that you need to start your own business, but it's more about, hey, here are all the things that you've been sort of itching to get off your plate and to start anew. So why not start an entrepreneurial journey? We're midlife women. We already have tons of experience, and this is your time to shine. I said earlier, I'm a business coach, so I work with women around how to launch and scale their dream businesses. So you could be in corporate right now thinking about wanting to start your business, and what does that all entail? And you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Brenda, I need to have like a 2-year runway or something. No, you don't. We just need to have a really strong signature offer, and the rest I'll teach you. Or the other group of women that come to me are already sort of like at the 100K mark. They want to try and get to 200, 300K in their business. And it feels like a slog because maybe you haven't necessarily put the systems in place. And I tend to be more of that operations person based off of my corporate experience. I ran marketing teams, IT teams, HR teams. I've got a ton of experience scaling up large multi-million-dollar businesses. And now I'm working with solopreneurs, helping them get to their first 100K or 200K. So if you're in that field, that orbit space, you're in the right place by listening to the X podcast. Oftentimes I bring on guests and different mentors, different advisors, different coaches to just talk about all the different ways that you can be working on your business. But today it's solo, it's me, I'm driving the bus, and I'm talking about personal branding. Now that tends to be a little bit of a buzz phrase, I think, in the business community. We got branding, we got brand messaging, then there's this personal branding piece. Another one that gets thrown out there a lot, like know your why, lead from your why, start with why, all those expressions. And what I like to say is at the end of the day, your personal brand is about who you are as an individual, as a business owner, what you stand for, who do you support, how do you support them, and what results do you get from them? There's a formula that I have, 3-step formula, that I think helps you articulate your personal brand. Because a lot of times women entrepreneurs will come to me, my clients will come to me and be like, I don't know how to tell people what I do. Or they struggle with that sort of brand messaging around their offers. Or when they want to get on a podcast and be a guest on a podcast, they don't really know what to say and articulate what they do every day. So I like to create this really simple to use framework to help women out in those situations, women entrepreneurs out in this situation. And I think once you plug in the formula to it, you'll see that it's actually pretty easy for you to continually talk about your personal brand, represent it in your content, whether that's an email that's going out to your list, whether that's, again, you're appearing as a guest on someone else's podcast, whether it's your Instagram bio, at the top of your Instagram feed page. We'll go through that today and just talking about how to set up your personal brand. So I'll just give you the nuts and bolts of it. The 3 pillars or the 3 elements of this framework around personal branding are access to you, authority, and attitude, your attitude. So let's break it down. And with each of these different elements, these components that make up the personal brand framework, there's going to be a little bit of a homework assignment because I want to make sure that you're set up for success around it. So let's talk about access. How can people access you? Now, obviously, paid clients can access your offers, your services, your products, all those type of things. That's one way that they can access you. But before they know you and before they have that know, like, and trust with you, they need to be able to access you in different capacities. When I talk about access and this whole Gary Vaynerchuk approach is one piece of content. So you could just take my podcast as an example. I am videotaping this podcast. I also have the audio tape for this podcast. So let's talk about the video part of it. I can take the whole video and put that on YouTube, long video. I can also split this up into all these different micro, because there's going to be like little nuggets and gems that I'm going to share with you. And I can be like, oh, wow, that's cool. That's a 20-second nugget right there. I can put that on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, or wherever, quite frankly, I want to share that short form video. I can share that long form video and the short form videos with my email list. There's another hit. And then now let's take the audio, right? Obviously, I've got the audio clip that goes on to my podcast channels, the big ones, Listen Notes, Podbean, Apple, Spotify, etc. I can also take this audio if I want and put a static image over it, post that on Instagram if I choose to. So already I'm multiplying, right? I don't do a lot of like in-person events anymore. In my corporate days, I used to speak at large form conferences, on stages, etc. But it could be speaking gigs, it could be association, industry type events, but lives also on LinkedIn Live, Instagram Live, Canva Live now. There's Canva Live. So check out where those live platforms exist and see how you can make use of them. Reels, keep your reels top of funnel. That can be a great way to get more views and access to your content and to you and your personal brand. Podcasts, blogs, those are great ways. You could have your own, or you could collaborate with others. And that would be my fourth thing, is collaborations. When you're collaborating with sort of birds of a feather, like-minded people. Again, I'm a business coach for midlife women entrepreneurs, but I had some women on my podcast this week. One was a money coach that worked with midlife women. One was a health practitioner that was a perimenopause coach that worked with midlife women. So we're in the same sort of realm and community and sort of birds of a feather, but we're different as far as offerings, and so we can complement each other. So collaborations can be my sort of like top four, along with lives, reels, and podcasts / blogs, to give people more access to you. So your homework with access right now. So if you're thinking, Brenda, I don't really do a lot from an access standpoint, here's one thing that I want you to do this week is reach out to one of your biz besties. So when I think of biz besties, I think right off the top, Kristen Constable. She's awesome. You should follow her, find her out. She's the Soulful CEO. She would be somebody that I would collaborate. And we've done tons of collaborations. We've been in each other's master classes, masterminds. We've been on each other's podcasts. We've done Instagram lives together. I've been in her Facebook group. So collaborate with one biz bestie this week. I don't care who it is. I don't care how many people they have in their followers, in their reach. Just do something with them this week. Get on an Instagram live and talk and riff about a subject that you share in common. Guaranteed, you're going to meet some people in their audience. They're going to meet some people in your audience. Plus, Instagram will also share you to people that you don't even know yet, because it's all about making connections, and Instagram cares about that. My second element in this 3-step framework is authority. I know you have a ton of experience. I know you're brilliant in your skills, your craft, your trade. And your clients that have worked with you already know that, but the people that you're trying to also reach and establish that brand presence with and that level of authority with don't. Here's where I think you can share more about your expertise without drowning them in educational content. I think collaborating with other people and talking about what you know and do can be a great way to get that out. Do some research and find some really great podcasts. Getting into longer form content like blogs, like email lists. So what I would say is, if people have access to you and they're, say, joining into your email list, you could be sharing a lot of great content that way with them, and it's helping to establish your level of authority. But I think if you're talking about social media and quick hits of content, here are some things that I would say would also work to help you establish your authority. Social proof, client testimonials, all of those type of things, even a video from your client or you talking about a client experience and what you did to take them from A to B, that transformation. You know, they were doing this around their health, and as a result of working with me in 3 months' time, we were able to complete this for them and do this for them. That would be like a key thing around authority, is getting other people to speak about your authority, interviewing you and talking about your authority, or you just blatantly sharing your level of authority. That's your homework around authority, is I want you to post something up this week in social media or to your email list or on your blog or on your podcast. An example, a story, a testimonial of something that you did with a client to take them from A to B, and what did that look like? Then my third element of this personal branding framework is your attitude. So your attitude, your flair, your personality, this is where it's like, actually, I don't mind listening to some people talk about procrastination when they've got a cool way of doing it, when we can get into a really cool conversation about it, because I'm hearing stories about their beliefs, their passions, their non-negotiables, and even sometimes a controversial point of view. Like my sales coach, Jillian Murphy, just puts it out there in the universe She hates doing sales calls, and she will never teach you how to do a sales call. Can she do them? Yes. She's led sales teams. She's led like sales groups of people in organizations before. She's had to teach people how to do sales calls, but she's like, nobody likes doing them. Everybody thinks they're icky. And so she always posts about how she'll train you in your sales process around not doing sales calls. And she gives like whys behind it and other alternative solutions. So pick something that's controversial, because every sales coach out there is talking about doing sales calls, discovery calls, whatever you want to call them, coaching calls, but then you're still selling on the back end. She will say, quite frankly, she does not do sales calls, and here's why. And so it becomes a little controversial, but it makes her noticeable. Okay, so your homework around attitude is, I want you to think about, like, when everyone's going right, you're going to go left. So just even like go on Instagram this weekend, and if you're not following like 10 coaches in your field, or service providers or product providers in your field or practice, go do that now. Just check them out over the next like 4 or 5 days. What are they all talking about, and how are they talking about it? I'd love to see it. And if you're going to do your homework assignment and you do that post around that controversial element, that conversation that you're going to raise with people, I want you to tag me in the post so that I know that you're doing your homework. So quick review, 3 elements that go into your personal brand: access to you, authority, your expertise, social proof that you are legit and you say you are. And then your attitude, right? Your beliefs, your passions, your non-negotiables, and something that's a little bit controversial. And tag me in some of these posts, tag me in, what you learned away from this podcast, and DM me if you have any questions. And make sure you check out the links, like the caption in this podcast episode, because I've got a special little treat for you. We'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.